Today, we are going to be talking about how we can compare and order integers. When you read a number line from left to right, the numbers are in order from least to greatest. So just like you read a book from left to right, you can remember that when looking at a number line, all the numbers from left to right go from least to greatest. To start, we can also say that all negative numbers are always less than positive numbers. But when you're looking at two negative numbers, for example, -9 and -4, it might be hard at first to think about which one is less than the other. But when looking at the number line, we can see that -9 is less than -4 because when we go from left to right, it goes from least to greatest. -4 is also closer to 0, and that's another way to remember that -4 is greater than -9. You can also think about it like money. I would rather be in -4 debt dollars than -9 in debt. Oftentimes, you're given information and need to decide which information is greater than the other. So let's look at this example. Amy recorded the following golf scores during her first week at the golf school. Now we need to look at Amy's information and decide, well, when was her scores greater than her other scores? One way to do this would be to draw a number line and plot all the numbers on the number line. We can then see which numbers are greater than the other. So let's take a minute to plot the scores on the number line below. As you can see, the scores are plotted on the number line, and they are in order from least to greatest. -5 is less than -3, which is less than -2, -1, 0, 3, and 4. So if we take a chart and graph those numbers on the number line, we can then order them from least to greatest by just writing whichever numbers are in order from left to right. -5 is less than -3. -3 is less than -2. -2 is less than -1. And then we have 0, which is less than 3 and 4. So this is a strategy you can use when you want to order information from least to greatest, or from greatest to least. Drawing a quick number line is a very useful tool. If we want to talk about Amy's data, we can say that on Monday, she scored a 4, which happens to be her greatest score of the week. On Thursday, she scored a -5, which is the least score for the week. And I don't know, but I think in golf, you don't want the greatest score. You actually want the lowest score. Sounds confusing, but that's golf for you. When we're talking about numbers that are greater than and less than one another, we're talking about inequalities. An inequality is a statement that two quantities are not equal. The symbols in front of you are used to write inequalities. So take a look. Both symbols show either greater than or less than. So when we talk about Amy's scores, -5 was less than 4. Which symbol should we use? Well, when we're reading from left to right, this symbol shows that -5 is less than a +4. I think some of you know the trick that the open part of this triangle points to the greater number, and this tiny point points to the less than number. Now you can practice. Let's look at the numbers below. And let's use the greater than, less than, or equal to sign to demonstrate which number is greater than or less than the other. A tool you might want to use is a number line. A number line is always helpful to decide which number is greater than the other, because when you read from left to right, the numbers going from left to right are going from least to greatest. Yep, you've got it. So why don't you press pause on this video and decide for yourself which numbers are greater than one another. Then press play and you can self-check your answers. So go ahead and check your answers. -8 is less than +10. 0 is less than +6. 27 is greater than -15, and -7 is greater than -8. I got a little confused with this question, -7, whether or not it's greater than or less than -8. So what did I use? The number line. So I plotted -8 and I plotted -7. And I knew that if you read the numbers from left to right, it goes from least to greatest. Therefore, -8 is less than -7. We hope this video was helpful to you, and I hope you watch it over and over again if you need any assistance with inequalities.